taught math, I've taught math intervention, I've taught LA, I've taught reading, I've been the instructional technology coach, and that I do. But my most memorable probably moment was back when I was the original instructional technology coach at Emerson. So like that week of rolling out Chromebooks and starting up WAMS is very, very kind of memorable in my brain. And I remember there was a time, don't try this at home, but a kid brought a squirrel in his hoodie to school. So there's been a lot of just those days where I'm like, how is this my job? And that's what makes it fun and exciting, and I don't know. So the most interesting one is the next one, I guess.
What was the most chaotic moment that has ever happened while you're teaching a class?
Well, this is a pretty famous one. Kind of embarrassing. I wasn't actually teaching a class. I was taking everybody, before we had Chromebooks, we had to map test in the LRC. So I was carrying my whole entire, in front of my whole entire team of 100 students. And I remember Miss Russell was working with me at the time. And we had just finished map testing, and it was a beautiful day, just kind of like today, and I had gotten my white whole outfit out because it was spring, and I had my flip-flops on for the first time because I was showing up with my pedicure. And of course, if you know me, I have my coffee and my computer always. So I was leading the 100 kids up to the third floor. They were all following me very nicely, very quietly, exactly what they were supposed to. But my flip-flop caught on one of the stairs, and my first thought was to try and get the computer as far away from the coffee as possible as I was going on. Well, what happened was the computer was fine, but the coffee spilled down white shorts and all of that. So yeah, so I turned around and the kids were absolutely in shock. And I remember leaning over the stairwell and dripping the coffee onto Miss Russell, and Miss Russell was trying not to laugh. And everybody was just in shock. And I personally started laughing because I just thought it was the craziest thing. But so then I had to carry on the whole entire day with coffee in my hair and coffee all the way down. And the next day, Mr. Simmons came in and he got me a cover and he taped it all shut. I still carry around mugs, you guys know that. But yeah, that was probably my most yep, that's one for the ages.
So how long have you been teaching?
This is my 28th year of teaching here in District 64, 25 at Emerson.
Wow, okay. So what would your most interesting story from Emerson be?
So many of them. But one that stands out in the last 5 years maybe was we had a teacher, Mr. Keating, who's no longer here. He went to go make some ramen noodles. And as you know, you should put water in with the ramen noodles. He didn't do that. Put it in the microwave without any water, and it started on fire.
Oh.
Took it out, and he used a fire extinguisher to extinguish it, but when he did that, things went really chaotic. Had the fire drill and went outside, but we couldn't go back onto the third floor, so all the classes that were on the third floor had to be put in the LRC or the NPR, and had to be dispersed throughout the school because of the fire extinguisher going off. They couldn't go back into that room or on the third floor at all. So that was kind of really chaotic, kind of interesting story that I won't forget.
Okay. What was the most chaotic thing that has happened, while you're teaching?
Oh, teaching? I had a kid pass out in class. They were in the staining room. It was during the spring months. It was hot outside. And I don't know if it was also the staining smell, but a kid just passed out in class. I kind of, whoa, kind of left them to the ground. I had to call the nurse. They brought down the wheelchair. That might have been maybe the most chaotic thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. What was your most memorable moment here at Emerson?
My most memorable moment here at Emerson would be during the pandemic Zoom year, where I finally got to see my students in person, and we enjoyed the beautiful weather with each other by reading our books outside, drinking lemon water, and just having a great time reading and enjoying the weather.
Okay. How long have you been teaching?
Been teaching in general or teaching at Emerson?
In general.
In general, I've been teaching for about 34, 35 years now, so a very long time.
Wow. How long have you been at Emerson?
I've been at Emerson here for about 22 years, so a very long time here.
Okay. What is the most chaotic moment that has happened while you were teaching?
One of the most chaotic moments was when a giant fly had gotten into the room, and my whole class and I were trying to chase this fly down. I had a slipper in my hand, and needless to say, we got the fly and class went back to normal.
Okay. Lastly, what is the most interesting moment throughout your teaching career?
So, an interesting moment is I am not absent very often because I love my students dearly. One time when I needed to have a sub, I had the most terrible sub ever, and if you know her, we try not to say her name in here because it's like Voldemort. It is Miss Nugget. She is a menace to society. She can never say any student's name right, and if you see her in the hallway, you'll know who she is.